Hello and welcome back to Inmr, where today I'll be predicting how the Premier League will pan out this season. We'll go from 20th all the way up to 1st, so let's get straight into it with the team finishing rock bottom, and unfortunately that is going to be Leicester. Leicester have lost Dewsbury Hall and Maresca, which are massive losses. I don't think the team they've currently got is much better in quality than the team that went down. Steve Cooper as well. I think he plays a much different style of football to Maresca. I just think that Leicester will crumble and go straight back down. Also getting relegated is Southampton. Good additions to the squad and managed to hold on to Kyle Walker-Peters, which is massive. I think they're going to have great glimpses of form, but not enough to keep them up, and I don't think they'll be able to keep a high standard over the entire season. Final relegated side is Brentford, which of course means that I've got Ipswich staying up, but I do think this is going to be one of the shocks of the season. Tony, I'm surprised that he didn't get a move this summer. I just can't see him completing a full season, and then you're left with Carvalho and Mbeumo as the main attacking outlets, and I just don't think you want to be relying on two players to stay up. Mbeumo could get injured again like last season, and then you've only got Carvalho. I think the defence looks poor and they're going to concede a lot of goals. I've got Ipswich as the only newly promoted side to stay up. Last season I put Burnley far too high after their positive impression in the Championship, and that was a big mistake. This year I do think Ipswich are going to be safe, but only just. I think they're going to be the Luton of this season. They've made some nice signings such as Hutchinson and Johnson, and also they've kept key players such as Leif Davis. Semi Schmodix, that would be a great addition in terms of a goal outlet. It puts a lot less pressure on Delap, and this morning it's been confirmed that Calvin Phillips is going to join. I've put Nottingham Forest in 16th. They've held on to loads of key players. They still did need to get Aaron Ramsdale, but that move has passed them by and they have bought in Sells. I think their spine looks really great through the middle in my opinion. Of course, as I said, there is still enough quality to keep them safe. Everton, I've put them in 15th, could still lose Jared Branthwaite, which would put them in a lot of trouble. Jake O'Brien could be his replacement, but we'll see. They could actually partner up. Iliman Ndiaye is back in England, but I'm not sure how he's going to get on. Obviously, we didn't get to see him in the Premier League with Sheffield United as he made that move to Marseille. Onana's move is a massive loss in a vital area. I do think they're going to struggle this season without key players. In 14th, I've got Bournemouth. They've got a great manager, but they have just lost Solanke, who was brilliant last season. I think Iraola will keep them safe in terms of not being dragged into a relegation scrap, but they do need to buy a new striker ASAP. I like the addition of Arujo on the right-hand side, and there are rumours of Mamadashvili from Valencia. The links are that he would join Liverpool, and then Bournemouth are currently the favourites to get him on loan. Without Solanke, I can't see them pushing any higher than 14th. In 13th, it's Wolves. They've got a fantastic manager who won't let them fall into the danger zone, but they will be looking down rather than up this year. They've lost Pedro Neto, which they struggled when he was injured last season, and Max Kilman has gone as well, but they do now have 100 million to play with. They are currently linked with Wissa from Brentford for 25 million. In 12th, we've got Fulham. I think Emil Smith-Rowe is going to flourish in this side. Yes, they've lost Paulinho and Tosin Adarabioyo, but I still think they're going to surprise a few people. Muniz was fantastic last year. Iwobi is going to link up really well with Smith-Rowe, and new signing Jorge Cuenca is someone that I'm really looking forward to see. This is going to be a solid season for Fulham in my opinion, and I think 12th is a solid finishing spot for them. Pains me to say it, but Glasner's going to take them far again. Not top 10 of course, but not far behind. Eze, Mark Gahey and with a move away. I think one of them will have to go before the end of the season, but they've got 2 more weeks to bring in a replacement. I think 11th is fair for them. 10th, I've got Chelsea. I think they've brought in too many players and they're not going to be able to gel. I don't think Todd Bowley and the rest of his team have got a clue what they're doing. They've put themselves back at square one by getting rid of Poch, and I think they will struggle in the league. Although the team looks decent and obviously they've got so much depth, these players are all unproven. In 9th, I've got Brighton. In my opinion, there's great depth in the attacking areas, and I like the football that we're currently playing. Defensively, we aren't that strong, and I think that will cost us this season in terms of pushing for Europe. What I've seen throughout pre-season is that Brighton are very open at the back, played the offside trap a lot with a fairly high line. But as I say, I like what I've seen going forward. Just signed Gruder. Minty's been excellent. Overnight, we have triggered the release clause of Ruta for 40 million. You'd hope that he's going to be good. For me, I just think we need to confirm the signing of Kadioglu and bring in one more centre-back, and then I think it's a really positive window. I'm very excited for the new season and the new players, of course, but trying to remain realistic as well. I think 9th is good for the first year under a new manager. In 8th, we've gone for another club who've had a fantastic window even without Paqueta at some point, I do think they'll be okay. They're looking really strong, and if Lopetegui can get the players buying into the system, I think he's going to be a great success. They've made some massive upgrades in defence as well with Tobido and Kilman. I think they'll just miss out on Europe, but similar to Brighton, a very exciting new era. With the attacking options, obviously I've put Bowen just behind Fulkrug there, but that can easily adapt. They can interchange that front four however they like. In 7th, getting Conference League, I have chosen Manchester United. I think they've made some good signings on paper, but whether they perform is another story. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Garnacho for goals this season, as I'm not totally convinced with Xerxes, and I'm still not totally sure of Ten Hag, so we'll see. I think it's going to be a mediocre season for them. Yes, they've brought in big names, but if they're going to put performances into match, that's a whole nother story. I think in the attacking areas, they could potentially bring in a new right winger, as Anthony I just don't think is at all good enough. They are linked with various players, and if they can get a couple more deals done, then maybe they'd go higher, but I don't think they're going to push with Ten Hag in charge. In 6th, I've got Newcastle. I think they will kick on in the league. At this moment in time, they've managed to hold on to Isak and Gordon, which is absolutely huge. I think they're going to be back to their best this season. Can't forget the return of Tonali too, and that has been confirmed this morning that his return date is the 28th of August. We saw how good he was at the start of last season, but only for a few games, so it's essentially like having him as a new signing again. I think it's going to surprise a few people. I just think they need to adapt to Slot's style, and I'm not really sure why they haven't made any signings. I think, to be honest, it shows a lack of ambition. There's definitely improvements that need to be made to this squad, and when Slot got the job, he must have had players in mind that he wanted to bring in. So I really don't know why nothing's happened this window. They lost out on Mats Wiefer to Brighton, and Zubamendi's just rejected them as well. A 6 is clearly what they're looking for, and if they can't get that, then it's a disappointing window for me. In 4th, I've got Tottenham. Now that they've got that focal point up top, it's going to be really important for them to push on this season. Archie Gray they've brought in as well, who I know a lot of Tottenham fans are excited to see. I think Postecoglou, with the first season under his belt, Spurs can really kick on and go that little bit further this year. 3rd spot, I've got Aston Villa. I don't think they're going to drop off due to the Champions League. Actually, I don't really see them going fast. There's not going to be any of that fatigue or injury worries. I just don't see them progressing. The squad depth is good regardless, and they've held on to key players as well as bringing in some big names. Onana is a fantastic signing, and of course with Unai Emery leading them, the sky is the limit. Just missing out is Man City. No 5 in a row for them. They need to replace Alvarez, in my opinion, and with Oscar Bob now injured. Just in terms of depth, they win the league so many times because of the depth they've got. They've lost a big outlet in Alvarez. Think how many times last season he came off the bench. He had vital points, which in the end won them the league, and now that's gone. Yes, it's a minute detail, but that's what costs top teams at this level. So that means that Arsenal are going to win the league. I did say last year in my 23-24 prediction video that they've got one more year, and that did happen, but I also said that this year is going to be their year to win it, so I'm going to stick with that prediction. I really believe that they will do it. Marino, which gives them the depth I've spoken about for years, and this now finally looks like a title winning squad. That is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there's plenty of others you can go and watch at my website, inmrfootball.co.uk. On there you can find match reports, live blogs, club updates, and so much more. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.